everyone, I'm Sam Strike, and welcome to Patch Presents, your show all about Radnor. Today we have a very special guest in the studio. Her name is Joy, and she wants to say hello to you. Hi Joy, how are you doing today? I'm doing fine. Joy's here to talk about socks. As you can see, Joy is a sock puppet, and she has a very important mission here in the Philadelphia area. So we're also going to speak with Tom Costello Jr. He is Joy's parent, or what is your relationship to Joy?
Creator, but that sounds a little bit too powerful.
Creator, right. Tom Costello is the creator, and he is the head of the Joy of Sox. The Joy of Sox is a local organization which collects socks for homeless people. And that's what we're going to be talking about in today's half-hour-long program. So, Tom, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Sam. Nice to be here.
And Joy, welcome to you as well. You can be my helper over here. Tom, why don't you start telling our audience, who might not be familiar with your organization, what you're all about?
Sure. We founded the Joy of Sox to provide socks for the homeless. And think about it. At the end of the year, when you're going to donate some clothes or your jeans wear out or something, you donate them to Goodwill or your church, but what do you do with your socks? They're probably threadbare, they have holes in them, or they're smelly, so the homeless do not get donations of socks. I have a homeless fellow that follows me on Facebook. His name is Moose, and Moose is from San Antonio, Texas. I talked to him on the phone over the summer, and Moose is saying that when they go to a donation place or a collection place, they'll get jackets and sweaters and jeans, but they never get socks. And he says, kind of bless you for what you do.
So you, I mean, your life right now, I mean, you're really, I mean, this is your mission right now.
Absolutely.
Yes. But when did this begin? Because it's only been a few years, right?
Not even a few years. We had our first event, Sam, basically Thanksgiving of last year. So we're basically 52, 54 weeks old.
Wow.
And already we're in about 8 states, but I'll get to that in a second. So how did I get involved in this?
Yes.
Sam, I used to be chronically homeless phobic. I could not walk down the street. If there was a homeless person here, I would have to cross the street. It was unbelievable. But I think most phobias are, I guess, uncontrolled. I have no idea why I did this. At the time, my wife was also volunteering at a soup kitchen down in Germantown, St. Vincent's. So one year she said, why don't you come down and help serve the homeless? And Sam, this was very traumatic for me. So I managed to get down there. I didn't want to get out of the car. Sweat on my forehead, palpitations. It was really scary. So I went inside, and a volunteer coordinator said, oh, Tom, just simply go over and talk to those guys. Well, simply was not easy for me. So I took a couple of deep breaths. I survived. So on the way home, Nancy, my wife, was saying that she was speaking to a podiatrist. The podiatrist said that the homeless have tremendous health problems with their feet and lower extremities because they don't have socks. Kind of resonated with me. So on the way home, I thought of the idea of the Joy of Sox, S-O-X. And then I think it was 2 years later, I finally got up the nerve, and Nancy was still volunteering there. And I got a few bags of socks with me. And I brought them down to the shelter, and I'm starting to hand them out. So somebody walks up, and I'll drop a bag of socks in their bag and say, Merry Christmas, God bless you. Merry Christmas, God bless you. And then Sam, this lady walks up to me, and you know what she looks like. Shabby coat, shabby hair, no life in her face. She comes up, I drop a bag of socks in her bag. Merry Christmas. Nothing, just flat expression, and walks away. So I'm looking for my next guest, and then she turns around and says, could I please have another pair for a friend? And she comes up, and then she's about this far from me. We have eye contact now. I drop a pair of socks in her bag, and she looks up at me and says, you know what? No one has ever given me a pair of socks before. And she starts to cry. And I start to cry. And then she reached out to hug me, and at that point, Sam, I had never touched a homeless person, and I hugged her back. And that was my epiphany moment. I know I had to be the sock guy. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because you think it is fundamental for health and well-being to have socks. But like you said, when you're giving your clothes away to an organization, you never think to ask for socks.
Correct.
So in just over a year, you have really given away a tremendous amount of socks. Any idea on how much that is?
Well, George just asked me the question. We did an inventory this week, and I don't know the exact numbers, but let's say about 125, 150,000 pairs of socks probably. We've been able to collect, purchase, and get donated.
Over 100,000 pairs of socks.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And how do you get them out to the people?
Oh, this is cool. Last year, when we started, we got some nice public publicity, and schools and companies had sock drives. And one school got 2,400 pairs of socks, which is a lot of socks. We bring them to our world headquarters, which presently is our garage. We're looking for office space. Plug. We box the socks in a box about this big, holds about 144 pairs, and then the volunteers bring them to selected shelters in Philadelphia, New Jersey area.
Okay. These are your organization's volunteers?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. And for those who don't know, Tom lives in Radnor, in the Radnor section of Upper Marion.
Correct.
So
Up near Cabrini College.
yes, very close by. And if you're at your computer right now, it's Joy of Sox, SOX.org. So first you want to go there and check it out if you want to get involved, or if you want to donate some socks or donate some money. Because what's interesting, and what I read, is that you have a connection, I believe in Alabama, where you can buy socks for very little money. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, sure. Most people, when they go to the store and want to participate, they'll go and buy, in this particular case, these are women's socks, which is very nice. It gets people involved in the community. It's hands-on feel. The volunteers can come over to our world headquarters, pack them in a box, and if they're so inclined, actually distribute them to the homeless people. So that's phase one. Another thing, if people care to contribute money, I have a connection with a manufacturer who sells us socks at a wholesale nonprofit rate. So when we have money and we need extra socks that we don't have in inventory that have been donated to us, we can get socks from the manufacturer and they ship them to us.
And how did you make that connection?
It's research, Sam. Just, we need socks. There's a list of sock manufacturers. Go on the internet, Google sock manufacturers, and just start making phone calls.
And I guess they support your cause, essentially.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, they give us referrals. We get calls from them periodically that a church in Georgia would call them for socks, and they don't give socks free, so they call us. And we get referrals from them a lot.
Wow. Do you know if there's any other organizations in the country like yours?
I don't know. There's one or two, if you Google Socks for the Homeless, I think one or two maybe church-based organizations locally. I think there's one in Ohio, and there might be one in one of the Carolinas. But I'm not aware of anybody, Sam, who does socks with the extent that we're trying to do.
So, again, you had this experience, this epiphany. Well, you had the experience, and then there was 2 years in between. I guess it ruminated, or you forgot about it, you went on with your life.
I didn't forget about it.
You didn't forget about it?
No. I figured, how important is this to me? How real is the problem? So I did some research, and yeah, it's real. There doesn't seem to be a lot of people doing this. So we researched getting the 501c3, the nonprofit, from the IRS. That took a couple of months. And then in beginning of last year, we got our 501c3 certification. And then we spent basically the entire summer planning out our marketing plan, and we started last November. And here we are.
What is it about this mission, about providing socks to the homeless, the Joy of Sox? What is it that is so galvanizing for people, or is so joyous for people? Because we have some photos here that you've provided. And one of them, for example, is a college student, a Chestnut Hill College student, who's working to pair socks together. So what do you think it is that lends itself to people getting so involved?
Sam, I'm not quite sure. There are thousands of good nonprofits out there and charities. And what I find is if somebody comes up to me and says, "Gee, Tom, what do you do?" I typically ask them a question. I'll say, "Do you have a sock drawer at home?" And they kind of look quizzical and have the same response that you do. I say, "Of course I do." I say, "Well, the homeless don't. And we're a nonprofit that provides socks for the homeless." And a lot of people get it. That they don't provide socks, and it's a cause. Not everybody embraces what we do, but I'd say a fair amount of people we mention that to, wow. And it's followed by, tell me more, or how can we help? Which is wonderful. I'm happy to do both. Yeah.
And on your website, you do list how people could help. You have raise funds to buy new socks, collect new socks, and distribute the socks to the homeless. So if someone wanted to get involved with your organization, they certainly could in a number of ways.
Oh, yeah, it's the website, excuse me, thejoysocks.org. Excuse me. And as I said, right now we've got 9,000 pairs of socks that we need distributed. We're going to do that probably between now and the next couple of weeks. That's one way. I'm also looking for engaged volunteers who also have some leadership characteristics, capabilities, that can help me expand my reach.
Great. And also it says on your website, if someone chooses to give you money, well, I guess with your connection, for a $100 donation, you can purchase around 200 pairs of socks.
Correct.
So your money really does go very far.
Oh, yes.
With that connection. Now, I'm curious, have you encountered volunteers who were like you once, who had a phobia of homeless people?
One of the things I like to do, Sam, is get volunteers who are engaged, who really get it. And one way to get it is to, Sam, next Saturday, let's go down to a homeless shelter. We'll bring some socks. We'll talk to the guys and see if this does anything for you. Yeah. Now, some volunteers say, no, I just can't do that. And that's okay, because I really appreciate that. Some people say, yeah, I'll do it. If I'm looking for a potential board member, one of the tests I give them is we have to go down and visit the homeless and talk to them and see what it is. And this fellow Anthony, who's on our board, we went down there and we're driving back in the car, said, that was moving. So he understood it.
Yeah. How could you not be moved, though, by going there in person and meeting people and going through this? How could one not be moved?
Well, Sam, people have different things that turn them on and they want to get involved in. And for some people, this is not a cause. Sure. For me, it is.
And I think we have some more pictures of perhaps of dropping them off at a shelter downtown. There you go. And tell me, who are these people?
Oh, this is a lady, Maz. She's the second one from the left. I met her through the Mainline Chamber of Commerce, and she helps out at a food distribution kitchen meal place in West Philadelphia. And she said the guys wanted some socks, and it's primarily men at this particular location. So we went down a couple of Saturdays ago and dropped off a bunch of socks, and she's, again, the second one from the left, and the other three ladies are the volunteers who run the program.
And now, do you only collect unworn new socks?
Only new socks.
Okay.
Correct. And the reason for that, Sam, is the homeless rarely get anything new. And if somebody brings the socks, are the smelly socks? Oh, they're gently used. I have no idea what that means, and we don't have laundry facilities to wash them, so only take new socks.
Okay. So what's your ultimate goal for the Joy of Sox?
The ultimate goal. I love the ultimate goal. Well, I'll start with the little goal first. We call it the 1.2 million Happy Toes Initiative. 1.2 million happy toes. Some math here. Bear with me. According to HUD, there's about 10,000 homeless in the Philadelphia area. Philly, Camden, Trenton, Wilmington, etc. Assuming each have 10 toes, 100,000 times 10, or 10,000 times 10, whatever. And if they need at least one new pair of socks a month, you do the math, that's 1.2 million. So our marketing program for this fall is the 1.2 million Happy Toes Initiative Philadelphia, which will provide every homeless person at least one pair of socks a month. Then to answer your question, we do the 1.8 million Happy Toes Initiative Chicago, then LA, San Francisco, London, one step at a time.
Wow.
Or 1 foot at a time.
Excellent. If you're just joining the program, we're with Tom Costello Jr. He's chief socks person, if you will, at the Joy of Sox, which is a nonprofit organization he started to provide homeless people with brand new socks every month. new pair of socks. Now, obviously this is catching on. Let's talk about the Pennsylvania State Legislature. And it passed a resolution that declared February 14th as National Socks for the Homeless Day.
Mm-hmm.
Why was it coincidentally on February 14th, which is Valentine's Day? Is there any connection?
Right now, it's in the middle of December. And homeless people, not homeless people, people, Sam, tend to remember the needy between Thanksgiving and New Year's. So, food drives, Toys for Tots drives, everything. What happens on January 2nd? If we were running a food bank, the food supply just dwindles off. So I wanted to tie it into something after the giving season, and I figured Valentine's Day, nice day, February, middle of the winter, so let's see if we can do something on Valentine's Day.
Okay. Makes sense. So again, Valentine's Day, National Socks for the Homeless Day. And so what you brought in to the studio here is, this is the congratulations from Senator Dalen Leach. And you also have, this is the resolution?
Yeah,
Is that?
yeah, this is the absolute resolution.
Yes.
What was really cool, Sam, is, and the thinking behind this was that in addition to giving your loved one flowers or cards on Valentine's Day, remember the homeless. Get a pack of socks and deliver them to the homeless. Or, which is nice enough in a resolution, to make a donation to an organization that supports the socks. So we have Pennsylvania down, 49 states to go. So
Okay.
that's also part of my mission.
Yes. Do you have a board of directors
Yes,
in
we do.
place? Okay. And are they local, or who are they?
Okay, again, we're only a year old, so we're just starting out. So we have 2 engaged board members who happen to be local. One is in Delaware, and one is in Malvern. And we are actively looking for at least 5 more in the next couple of months.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, people obviously who are passionate about the cause, who are willing to go down there in person.
Absolutely.
And do this. All right. So when you're not collecting socks and delivering socks and ordering socks and packing up socks, what do you do with your life?
Well, lots of things. I'm fortunate enough to have a couple of grandchildren. I love photography. And I also teach up at Montgomery County Community College an entrepreneurial course. And we're working with Villanova on a social entrepreneurial program.
Okay. And what's your connection to Villanova University?
I went there as an undergraduate, and my grandson was baptized there. My daughter-in-law works there. A long connection. Yeah.
Okay.
Both of my children went to Villanova.
Mm-hmm. So have you been an entrepreneur in your life, or what has your career path been like?
Engineering degree, undergraduate, MBA in management, a whole bunch of little entrepreneurial stuff. Worked for the electric company for a while. But in the last couple of years, this has just been all-consuming, Sam. Just getting involved with a cause and taking all my business and engineering skills and putting them together and grow this little baby idea from, gee, maybe I can provide socks to this one shelter to 8 states. As a matter of fact, last week I got a box of socks, this big, from Sammamish, Washington, which is outside of Seattle. The mommy heard about us on the internet somehow and wanted to teach her 2 young girls about socks and giving back. And they sent socks to us. Was it cost effective? No. Was it wonderful? Absolutely.
Yes. A nice lesson. And again, something that we all have in common, for the most part, is we all wear socks. And that's something that everybody can understand, the need for new and clean socks. And on your website, you have some writings, some text to explain to people, what you're all about, for example, and you'll say the homeless, they have no nice warm socks to change into. They have no sock drawer.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of your phrases, if you will.
Yeah. Tell you a little story, Sam?
Mm-hmm.
Last spring, there's this homeless fellow walking from North Philly to Center City. The homeless walk a lot. The only way they have to get around. One of those cold spring showers, stepped off the curb, up to his ankles, and his feet are soaked. You ever get cold feet or wet feet and walk in your shoes? What's the first thing you do when you go home? Take off your socks, go to your sock drawer. Ah, the joy of socks. Well, this fellow didn't have that. So he walked. It's cold, no other socks. Kept the socks on 24/7 until his feet really started to hurt. And then he hobbled over to a clinic. I'll talk about clinics in a second. And the doctor there had to basically use a scalpel to peel the sock off, and all sorts of ugly things going on there. Blisters, fungus, infections, almost a gangrene. And had he gone days or whatever longer, he may have had to have lost his toes or more, all for a pair of socks. And if I can tie that into healthcare, who is paying for this visit to the clinic? We are, through the healthcare system. So one of the things in trying to get my resolutions passed in other states are, gee, if we can provide socks, hopefully through some grants, to the homeless people, it will have a small impact on the healthcare system, but a major impact on the people that get the socks.
Interesting. And did you want to talk about clinics?
Oh, clinics, yeah. There was a picture, I don't know whether he has it, of the two doctors.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Tell us about that.
Jefferson Hospital runs a program called Jeff Hope, H-O-P-E, not sure what Hope stands for. And it's second-year residents, and they do community medicine, and they go out, I think it's 6 nights a week, and visit various shelters, and they run clinics for the homeless. So we're going to team up with them right after Christmas and have some of our volunteers go out and distribute socks to the clinics on an ongoing basis.
And do you still find yourself going to the clinics?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. How often do you do that?
Well, there's another picture we have of a poster that says love on it. If you could share that, I'll share that story. Here we go. I was at a clinic in North Philadelphia, and the doctors were fortunate enough, or I was fortunate enough, that the doctors let me in on the exam with the patient. And one patient was reading, let me just back up a little bit. What is your impression of a typical homeless person? You don't have to answer it. But this fellow was reading Salinger, Catcher in the Rye. And he said, I just felt like revisiting that. And on the wall was that love poster. And he made it because he's an art person, and he teaches art to the homeless. So I got to talking to Mr. Webster afterwards, and I gave him some socks, and he said, would you like a little postcard with my poster on it? So I keep that with me in my little file. So they're talented people out there, Sam.
And what is the reaction that you did tell that one story of the woman who said that no one had given her a pair of socks before. What other kind of reactions have you gotten from people when you're distributing your socks?
Oh, from the homeless people? You are my sock angel. It's a fellow downtown calls me the sock angel. There is a lady that runs a house for homeless people up in New York, basically the transients, and her name is Angela, and she says whenever the homeless come in, the first thing they ask for is, do you have any socks? And then people's face just light up when you give them socks because it's a commodity. There's a fellow, Travis, went to school in Colorado. When he graduated from college, decided to be homeless to experience it. And he said, Tom, socks are like gold on the street. They're just not there. So that just, again, reemphasizes the fact that I got to be the sock guy, Sam.
You are the sock man, and you're reaching even farther than the Philadelphia area, as you've mentioned. And it seems like your wife is also supporting this mission.
Yes, she is.
How is she? Chief sock woman of the house?
No, we're trying to come up with the chief's number for her. She seems to be the chief sock pairer in getting organizations and sock drives together and sort of meshing people.
Because you want, like you said, you want people to be involved with the cause. You want them to, if they want to, experience it themselves or perhaps start their own sock drive. I mean, you want to pair with people and organizations and schools.
Oh, it's amazing. Sock drive. St. Catherine's right around the corner. The 4th grade did a sock drive last year. If we expand it to the entire school in February, well, the 4th grade can get more than the 5th grade. No, they can't. Yes, they can. And what does that do? Just competition. Maybe we'll do a Big 5 competition, Can St. Joe's get more socks than Villanova? Than Penn? Than Drexel? It's a start.
Mm-hmm. And let's go back to Joy.
Joy.
Our guest Joy, because Joy's going to get a little work done. Right, she's going to get an update in her look. So here we have Joy today. How are you doing, Joy? You doing good? I'm doing well, thank you. And you have some plans for Joy. So
Yes,
do you want to show us what Joy might look like?
One of the things, as an entrepreneur, you can't do everything yourself. So I have to surround myself with talented people. And Leslie said we need a mascot. And the mascot's name should be Joy. So I put Joy together, and I brought her out as, not really a joke, but just as a talking point. And Sam, people remember Joy. They either remember that it's really crazy or I'm really intelligent, but they remember Joy.
Yes.
So Joy has her own email, Joy@the Joy of Sox. People actually send her email.
Joy.
We've got a business card for Joy. It's called Chief Spokes Puppet. Anyway, so what we're going to do with Joy is Joy's goal is to become the chief, or she is the chief spokes puppet, but her goal is evolving. We want her to become the national spokes puppet for the plight of the homeless and the health problems that can be mitigated by clean new socks. So we're going to evolve her into a Muppet-type puppet and we have a script, and we'll do a YouTube video, and it will be exciting. Do you want to see what the new Joy looks like?
Joy, shall we see what
her extreme makeover does?
your extreme makeover? Sure.
How do we do this?
Just hold it up and
Over here?
we'll get the camera on you. Hold it up and get to that camera.
Okay, so this hopefully will be the new Joy. The new Joy.
The new Joy. Here, I'll hold up the new Joy. Cute. She's got a little Argyle sweater
Yeah, there we go.
on. Oh, goodness.
There we go. We're back here again.
Anyway,
Yeah,
this is
anyway,
going to be Joy, and she's
so-
going to look a little different.
So the idea is, if the viewers are familiar with Clifford the Big Red Dog,
Yes.
used to be a small dog and now is a big dog. So what we're trying to do with Joy here is that she used to be homeless, and because of the love and support of organizations like the Joy of Sox, has grown up and is now no longer homeless, but is dedicating her life to help the homeless by providing socks.
Well, that's wonderful. So you, as Tom said, you can email Joy at joy@joyofsox.org. The website for the organization is joyofsoxsox.org, and Tom Costello Jr. Is in charge of it. And we're actually out of time.
Sam, this was wonderful. And Sam also brought a donation of socks, which we are very grateful for.
Oh, well, I'm happy to do it. Again, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Sam.
And talking about your passion.
It was wonderful.
Yes. So anyway, that's Radnor Patch for this week. Well, I'm Sam Strike, editor of Radnor Patch. That's Patch Presents. So I want to say thank you to Radnor Studio 21 and to my guest here. So check out his website and his organization, and we'll see you next week.